What's good, YouTube? It's your boy JusticeXFalls. You back at it again with another video, and we looking at Gotham Knights building a brand new Gotham City. 400 years of history. IGN really been knocking it out the park lately. I know people don't really have the greatest impression of IGN, but they've been really knocking it out the park lately, and they've been giving us a lot of stuff to look at. So, if you just look on my channel alone, you'll see, because most of the stuff I cover is usually from IGN. So most of the stuff that's not like my original content, but without further ado, let's get to this video. All right, Gotham Knights building a brand new Gotham City, 400 years of history. Let's get
In
it.
the 1650s, 5 families left Europe,
Oh,
eventually landing on the rain-swept islands that pepper the mouth of what would one day be called Gotham River. Those families, the Waynes, the Cobblepots, the Elliots, the Arkhams, and the Kanes, would build a colonial fort together and sow the seeds of centuries of dominance in the area. Gotham City was born. The city quickly spread beyond its original bounds, developing 5 boroughs, and in each, one of those 5 founding families would take root. In the early days, the Kanes established themselves on Gotham's natural harbour, now known as Historic Gotham, tying the family to their new country's military might, building ships and weapons of war. By the 1850s, Gotham had become a major trade.
Yo, this is so cool. Like, the lore of Batman is like so crazy. Who knows? Like, you could create a whole universe just starting with one character. It's crazy.
Hub helped a lot.
And he's not even in the game. He's not even in this game. He's dead. Or so we speak. You know, if you read comic books, you know Batman don't stay dead. I think he come back to life in this game.
By the industrialist Cobblepots and their smoke-belching Southside steel mills. Gotham continued to transform over time. In the 1920s, the Elliots took hold of the 20th century's newest means of control, mass media, and built downtown Gotham in a new Art Deco image. By the 1960s, Gotham had truly become a patchwork of industry and architecture. The Arkhams settled in North Gotham, building their famous asylum. Yes, it's in the game, and no, it's not as you've previously seen it. The Waynes, meanwhile, built their billions in New Gotham, helping advance the town into a new technological age. Which brings us to the present day, and the Gotham you'll be exploring as Batman's proteges in Gotham Knights.
And you know how, if you don't know, which I don't know how you wouldn't know if you're a Batman fan, Gotham is based off of New York. So you have like miniature versions of, you know, the most historic buildings, like the Chrysler Building, Empire State Building, the Freedom Towers, which used to be, you know, the Twin Towers, but they got knocked down in 9/11. Well, that would be the Twin Towers back there, but and then this would be probably like a MetLife building or something like that, or one of those other huge structures that's downtown. All of those buildings, you see it. Like, if you're from New York, you could just see it. You could just see it off the rip. Like, it's not to scale, but the design is very similar. Like, obviously, you know, these are the Twin Towers back here. And then these could be like, this is like another Chrysler Building, Empire State Building, you know, this, you know, you can see it. So, let's continue.
Knights, an open world as soaked in history as it is by neon light and vigilante-friendly shadow. Warner Brothers Games Montreal created that history early in production, a whole new timeline for a whole new version of Gotham City. And it isn't merely window dressing. The timeline informs everything from the plot to the gameplay, to the game's biggest mystery, the Court of Owls conspiracy. The team didn't just build an open world to play in, it's truly trying to build a city.
At Universal Orlando, we're
Come on, Ash. This game was looking like they put a lot of effort into it. Again, like, I don't know why people like judge games so harshly before they get their hands on it, because I see some people like shit talking the game, and I think it's really corny. Yes, sir.
Key to this take on Gotham are those 5 boroughs and the worldview of the families that historically controlled them.
So for us, the 5 boroughs, you know, it started with the families. The families moved there, they built imposing structures within those districts. So then we build around that to where the identity for those districts really is based off of that family.
Within those boroughs, the team tries to tell stories without simply having someone speak them out loud.
If you visit a city in real life, it's hard to tell some of that history. So because we're making a game, really what we want to do is kind of obviously reveal. And
this right here, they explained it he uses like the watchtower, the capability of the watchtower, and some technology that he designed to teleport himself to different areas on the anywhere on the map that's within range of the. Well, it's through satellite or like some technology you create. They explained it in one of the other videos we went through.
So there's a lot of areas that are kind of stuck in time, you know, like even something as, you know, kind of generic as construction, like it becomes interesting when it's halted construction, or it's now abandoned and overgrown, or it's ruins, you know,
Feeding
all
them
those
out.
things are more interesting for the player than, you know, just a modern city. So we tried to have a lot of those areas where it's almost stuck in time, so the player can really experience what it was back then a little bit too, and see how the city evolved.
I like that. That's dope.
The team has historical and gameplay basis for every new environment. Take the Cauldron, built into the Cobblepot's lower Gotham area.
We always would like to tell a story with every borough, and there's one specific one that is not necessarily related to the family, but is an effect of some of the projects that those families undertook, which was a mining operation that happened in a riverbed. So they decided to wall off two sides of a portion in the water, and they dredged it for mining operations. It would attract workers for the mining operation. It was low-cost housing. It
That is a
remained
smart
like
business
actually a
move.
slum.
The Cauldron's
Check out
history
the copper
is
pots.
written into its walls, with tumble-down buildings and cramped, unplanned streets, all set in the shadow of the more prosperous districts around it. But all of this is a distinct gameplay choice too.
This spot is kind of like a transition area between the financial district and the south side. So we have like two very different themes while being in a third theme that is very organic, has a complete different way for the player to navigate over. It's a lot more powerful.
This looks like this area looks like Arkham City. Very gritty, very very grimy, you know?
Coring. So the player always has the choice to pick the best tool and the best navigation verb to be as efficient as possible. And with different neighborhoods that will give you different experiences.
So this game is low key open world. This is gonna be fire. This right here we watching. If you got Prime Video, check this out. It's Steven Stallone. He's a retired superhero, and he's coming back. He's coming back to do one last go around as a superhero. So I forget what it's called. We're gonna see what it's called in a second. Samaritan, August 26th. Definitely check that out.
This interplay of history and gameplay can be seen across the city. The once beautiful Robinson Park is a symbol of the city's decay, but it's also an open space where your usual stealth tactics may no longer work in the same way.
Right.
The enormous...
There was an area like that in the beginning of Arkham Knight, I believe, or the first game. There was an area like that where it was open, so you couldn't really sneak around like that.
Elliott Center is a literally gilded reminder of the family patriarch, complete with a museum exhibit about the family inside. And it's also a complex, multi-layered bit of vertical level design built to house the Mr. Freeze boss battle later in the game. And it's not just that timeline that acts as history here either. While this is a new take on Gotham, it includes many references to the comic books it's drawing from. Of course, there are buildings you'll know, right down to deep-cut references like Noonan's sleazy bar from Garth Ennis's Hitman series. Yep. The very fabric of Gotham itself acts as an Easter egg in places. Perhaps most interesting is that this Gotham has a public history and a secret history. We already know the game will center on the Court of Owls, a shadowy, manipulative group born of the founding families. Gotham itself will reflect that conspiratorial past too.
One of the things that we love about the Court of Owls, aside from the fact that it's a new, fresh addition to the Batman canon, is that they represent a threat that is so embedded and so intrinsic to Gotham City that even Batman doesn't know about it. And the notion of a threat that is so intimately tied to a city that he considers to be his city, that he knows like the back of his hand, that he's been patrolling for decades at this point. That's a very intimidating and scary idea. With that in mind, what we knew is that we needed to give you a sense of Gotham's history in order to be able to show all the ways in which the court is embedded in that.
It's a smart
that
approach.
Feeling that Gotham is kind of an adversary, and that Court of Owls is the embodiment of that, the personification of it.
The phrase commonly used at the studio for this is that they didn't just build up, creating those hugely visible landmark buildings and stories for every new district, that they also built down.
We started to imagine how the form of the city could be affected by that. And it started kind of,
because you know, if you're any type of Bat Family fan, you know the underbelly, literally the underbelly, like underneath the ground in Gotham City, is a whole bunch of nasty things going on. So I like how they incorporated that into this game.
helps suggest a geography, an urban geography to the
how
city,
they plan
going
to.
all the way back to like the late 1600s. And then we started to think, okay, well, what were the major events in history that they would have reacted to? You know, is it the Revolutionary War? Is it the kind of exploitation of the West, like the building of the railroads? Like all of these
see
ideas
the growth
became
over the
part of that
years,
conversation and allowed us to kind of build layers.
They piece together a time lapse if you don't understand that, like from the beginning all the way to now. Because some people are like, oh, who's that?
Accreted history. And we built it up and we built it down. Like we said, okay, what's buried under the city? Like, what are the hidden secrets that you can find in the course of investigating the Court of Owls?
Naturally, the team isn't talking too much about what those buried secrets might be.
Yeah, I don't want to know
but
too
we
much,
see
not
hints
yet.
of it as we're shown Gotham's open world. A seemingly nondescript building might be a gang hideout, which leads to a tunnel system that brings you into an exit into Gotham that you would never have guessed at, for example.
We want the Court of Owls to feel like they're involved in everything. If you were to go to a major city in North America, like often they'll build a city on top of another one. Like
Another one, yeah.
Chicago, like they had the fire, they just built on top of it because it's not worth like rebuilding, destroying and rebuilding. So what
Right. There's an area in where I'm from in the Bronx in New York City, the northern part. It's a co-op city that's built on top of like it used to be just a landfill. I don't know what it was before that, but it used to be a landfill, and they built on top of it. And they says that it sinks 0.1 of an inch every year. So they got to figure out what they're gonna do with that, because once it goes below sea level, the city will start to sink. I don't know if they've reinforced it by now, but I know that was true. That was true.
the undergrounds allow us to do is kind of reveal that cross section of the city. So we have areas like that where you drop in, you keep going, and you see
Keep going down.
things that you didn't know were there, that you didn't know the city was built on top of. And I think that's a really cool element. We try to allow the player to see kind
That is
of
a cool
behind
element.
the scenes of the city, go under the surface, and as well as seeing it from up high from the bigger landmarks.
The result of all this work is that this take on Gotham aims to feel like a legitimate place, not just a sandbox for spandex crime fighting. We've heard before that this will be the largest Gotham ever made in game form.
It already, just looking at the map, I could tell that.
We made a very big Gotham City, but what I think is really unique to Gotham Knights is the density of it. Sometimes I will be searching for something or fighting a crime and not realize how close to me something else is happening that I'm going to want to interact with afterwards or before. There's just such a depth of nooks and crannies.
Looks like they took a page out of the Insomniac book. I'm not going to say the Insomniac book, but that map, that map reminds me of the Spider-Man map, like the Spider-Man games for PS4. And ain't nothing wrong with that. That's dope. It's dope. I love Spider-Man. I might buy it again for the PC because it's about to come. It's about to come out for the PC.
Is to explore inside our city, and I think that that's really unique to Gotham Knights.
The idea of a Gotham packed with references, miniature histories, and sinister mysteries is alluring. After all, this is the promise of a town with real backstory, that it's not just the people living there who'll help tell the story, but the city itself. Gotham has been many things to many people. It's appeared in comics, movies, and gaming worlds. It's been reinvented repeatedly, traveling through time with us from block color.
I think Bruce had everybody think that he was dead. He framed his own death so that he could be a ghost, so that he could infiltrate the Night of Owls. And we're gonna see him in the game at some point. You see it now. It's what? I'm dropping this video August 11th. Watch. I'm telling you, I'm right.
40s issues of Detective Comics to the grey monoliths of Christopher Nolan's trilogy. But all of those versions of Gotham have been snapshots of a city in its current form. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Gotham Knights' version is that we won't just see the city as it is, but hopefully learn what it's been.
What it's been, what it was. He could have just said what it was. He said what it's been, but he's
We'll
probably
be covering Gotham Knights
UK,
and offering
so they speak a
exclusive
little different out
footage
there.
all this month as part of IGN First. And if you want to see what we've already done, we have 16 minutes of the opening
We did that
gameplay
video.
from the game, and we've revealed 28 new superhero suits that you'll be able to unlock.
Nice. So yeah, we covered this one and we covered this one. But yeah, I like the lore. I'm loving the lore. I am a Bat Family fanatic, so anytime you give me more lore to look up and anytime you give me another representation or interpretation of that lore, I'm down with it 100%. I'm just totally excited for this game. I might be fanboying right now, but I don't care because I'm all about having a good time. Like, a lot of people get on these videos when they get on this high horse and they sit there and say, "Oh, this is gonna be trash." Like, why are you speaking negativity in the air? Don't you want every game to be great? I want every game to be great. I'm spending my money on it. I'm spending my money and, more importantly, my time. I can't get my time back. I can make more money. I can't get my time back. So wouldn't you want every game to be great? So why not speak it into existence? And if I play it and it's trash, or if you play any game and it's trash, then you can say it's trash. Like, you haven't played it yet, so you don't know if it's trash. You feel me? So I don't know. That's just my little soapbox rant. I think this game is gonna be dope. Might even be a game of the year contender. But we're gonna see. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. This is your boy JusticeXFalls. We out. One.